Mr. Adorno, it is our honor to be here and have a discussion with you in Athens. First of all, I would like to ask you about these major developments the last years that have happened in neurotechnologies and what they can mean for us in the future and today's societies.
Yeah, neurotechnologies have a great development. Some people say this is the century of the brain, and they are contributing to the new diagnostic therapeutic procedures for neurological conditions, etc. But they raise also some important ethical and legal issues because by means of these technologies, you can have access to the brain data, neural data. So for the first time in history, you can read the mind, read thoughts, if you like. It's not a direct reading, but some of these technologies, especially functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, allow to identify the correlations between thoughts and mental brain activity, the activation of some areas of the brain. So you, in some way, you can know what the person is thinking.
Is this accurate? I mean, we can understand what you are thinking right now by only monitoring the certain
fMRI. For the moment, it's still not really accurate. It's very at the very beginning in some way. So, but you can identify some objects. You cannot identify a complete sentence, for instance. But you can identify if you are thinking of a particular object, if you are thinking yes or no, or remembering something in particular. There was a study in the US in which the scientists were able to identify the code, the PIN code of your card. So 4 numbers, 4 digits.
But this is a very exact information.
Yeah,
how can they understand the digit 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah, because they ask the person, okay, now think of the first number. Okay, so they identify the part of the brain that is activated. Now the second, the third, the fourth number. Okay, it worked. First, of course, first you have to identify the patterns for that person. So there's no, at least not for the moment, like a universal system. You have to know it's called like a brain fingerprints. Same way that we have unique fingerprints or unique genetic information, there is specific unique brain fingerprints that they're called like that. So in your case, when you think of your car, your brain is activated in this way. So first you have to identify in that particular person the patterns.
But if you are thinking of your car,
yes,
then it will not be the same. The exact point of our brain, of your brain, right? It will be something different in your brain by thinking your car.
Exactly, exactly. So it changed. So this makes it more difficult, of course. But I read a recent study with artificial intelligence combining results with different persons. They could identify some common language, common pattern. But this is still very not accurate, of course. But maybe in the long term that will be possible to identify.
This sounds outstanding, but also very dangerous. What is the bioethics thesis about this?
Yes, the main question is what is called the right to mental privacy, what I call and other people call the right to mental privacy. So the right, because we talk already about privacy, of course. Nobody has the right to invade your privacy, to know what you are doing, or to read your mails, etc. But this is not only about this domain. It's not only about getting information about you, but about having access to your brain, to your mind. And so this is really much more serious, because it's like the last frontier of your freedom.
Of course.
No? There's nothing more after that, because historically there were, I don't know, totalitarian regimes, etc. They could put you in prison if you disagreed with the government, etc. But you still had the freedom to think what you wanted to think.
So technology, even now, can read our brains, as you say.
Yes.
Is it possible to influence our thoughts?
Yes, because there are technologies that not only read the brain, but also write into the brain. That's how this is called metaphorically. You can write into the brain, which means you can modulate, modify, alter some brain activities, and those changes can also modify your personality, how you react, how do you think about this or that. This is also dangerous because, of course, again, it's totalitarian.
Extremely dangerous, Mr. Andorno. For example, a totalitarian regime, as you said, it can influence the people to do whatever one leader wants. Right?
Yeah, theoretically in the long term, but not now. But there are many studies on this, proving that you can change the way people think about something in particular, or not in general. But so this is why I'm in favor of a specific right to protect that, to protect your personality, your identity, that cannot be altered without your at least without your consent. I don't know if maybe even with the consent. I'm not sure, but at least without your consent, someone who is in prison, I'm not sure that can give a really free consent. That's again, there are so many things to discuss in this domain.
Very difficult matters. You are one of the most important experts in this field in the world. So I would like to hear your first thoughts on this concerning bioethics and maybe some new laws that we have to invent for this.
Exactly. I think we need new laws in this area. We are already at the beginning, only at the beginning, sorry. There's only Chile that introduced a new article in the Constitution regarding this topic, and some other states in the US. But otherwise, there's nothing. UNESCO, but we need some global normative framework.
Perhaps to put limits.
Yes, exactly. Some common principle, common standards. UNESCO started with this, took the initiative in this area, and this year established a group, it's called like that, group of experts in the ethics of neurotechnology. And I was honored to be in that group for Argentina, and we were 24 people from different countries and different disciplines, lawyers, neuroscientists, philosophers. And we worked during this year to prepare, to write recommendations. So we prepared a document, a 30-page document about these topics in different areas, the application of neurotechnology.
The conclusion of your paper?
No, it's very specific. It's very long. It's difficult to make a summary, but basically the recognition of the privacy of the mind, important to protecting the mind, the thoughts, preventing discrimination based on these devices, protecting the freedom of thought, because that could be also affected if others can manipulate your thoughts. Your freedom is limited or reduced. Protecting your personality. So all this, I think it goes in the good direction. Still a very initial document, but the idea is that countries will be inspired on that to legislate, to adopt specific legislation. So because in the end, it's the role of the countries, each country to adopt laws on that. UNESCO cannot legislate, cannot enforce. This is like, it's called soft law, like soft recommendation. Law, yes. So it's like principles that should be followed, but they are not legally obligatory.
We can only imagine how dangerous the situation could be by countries or organizations who will not respect those frameworks, what they could do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. But that happens with all in all areas of the law.
Thank you very much for this interesting discussion.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.